Hello guys, this is going to be an unboxing of 3 new items that I picked up from Micro Center today. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the stock heatsink fan that I have already installed in my desktop. I already told you guys earlier that I was going to eventually replace that because I am overclocking my CPU as of now, and it's not really ideal and recommended to use the stock heatsink while your CPU is overclocked, because when I use Prime 95, which is a program that stresses all of the cores that your CPU has to 100%, the highest temperature I've ever seen this CPU reach is about 185 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really too high for your CPU to be running at. So the third item is a heatsink, which I got for a very good deal. This is pretty much another great deal that I got from Micro Center. Usually I get my stuff from Newegg, but Micro Center had this heatsink. I'll show you guys after I unbox these. But alright, so the first product up is a simple Kingwin. It's the 120mm fan. I already paid $5 for this. Very simple, very straight to the point here. The CFM is really not that much. It's only 40. I'm only going to use this fan as an intake fan, but really you don't want a lot of CFM for an intake fan. Some do, but some don't, because it's only going to increase the amount of dust inside of your system if the intake fan has a very high suction or just simple airflow movement rate. So this package is very simple to open. It's just, you just bend these little parts of the back out. At least I hope it's simple. Alright, I take that back. Alright, there we go. Alright, so what you have in this package is your screws. I'll show you guys in micro focus. You have your screws. It's just your basic universal screws for all screw mounts on a fan. And you have the fan. But the thing I like about this fan is just most fans usually just come with a simple 3-pin header to plug onto your motherboard, or if you have an adapter, you could plug it into a 4-pin Molex adapter, or you could plug it into a fan controller, depending on your situation. But most fans just come with this simplistic 3-pin header to feed the power from. But this fan also has a pass-through Molex, so you can actually use the Molex straight from your power supply, and it's pretty basic, but it works a lot. You have your male, and then you have your female. I believe that if you had 2 of these fans, you can, if your power supply say was a male, or I mean actually a female connector like this, but with the extra 2 pins over here, you could just simply plug it into this, and then if you have another fan, you could plug the male part into this, and then you have the power supply going in this way, and then you have the male of the other fan going in this way, and you can just run them in parallel, so both fans will receive power from the one Molex connector on from your power supply, which I find very nice. You don't have to go out and buy a little $3 cable. It's not much money to buy the adapter, but it's just better that the fan just comes with it pre-installed. So that's pretty much all about with this fan. It's not really much else. Now, here is a vital thing that I got. It's thermal paste. I know the heatsink that I got comes with thermal paste already pre-installed, but all the reviews that I read, or not even all the reviews, I actually read a review, well actually it was a comparison of different thermal compounds, and the thermal compound that comes with that heatsink that I have is a Spire Blue Frost, and it didn't really perform as good as I wanted it to compared to the other heatsinks. So I ended up getting this for $3, and I was just going through various heatsinks such as the Arctic Silver 5, Tuneck TX4, Arctic Coolin MX, all of them, Icy Diamond. I was just looking through all the heatsinks, and I ended up coming up with this because, one, the price is low, and two, this thermal compound is really not that far from the top models. When it really gets up to a certain point, it's just a difference between 1 to 2 to 3 degrees in temperature differences, Celsius, not Fahrenheit, guys. And that usually falls into the margin of error, where it could just be something as simple as the ambient temperature differences, or just the way you applied the thermal paste. So really, this is really as good as I would want. It performs better according to the test than the thermal paste that comes with the heatsink. So I'm pretty much sure I'll be satisfied with this. So the unboxing of this should be very simple as well. Alright, let me just pull it out from here. Yep, I believe this is just documents. I think this is the yeah, this is just the card that you use to smooth down the thermal paste on the CPU. I will be showing you guys how I install it. You don't necessarily need this card. What I'm going to do is just drop a very small pea size or even a rice grain size of thermal paste right in the center of the CPU, and then let the heatsink smush it out and spread out as I apply it. Another way I can install it, because of the way my CPU's architecture is, because it's the Intel, you can install it with like a little thin line going from the bottom of the CPU up to the top, not from the bottom edge to the top edge, a little bit offset into the center, so it can actually cover the entire core, because the core is nestled right in the middle of the CPU itself. Let me see here. But I believe that the small little dab in the center should be adequate as well. Alright, here is the thermal paste. I don't know how many grams this is. I don't know how many times I can pretty much reuse this. I believe I could probably use this for up to 4, 5, 6 times if I get the first application correct. This is my first time applying thermal paste. The stock heatsink that I applied earlier has its own thermal paste pre-applied on the heatsink itself. So here's the star of the unboxing, and that is this wonderful heatsink that I got from my CPU. Now, the price for this heatsink is $50-something. It fluctuates from 45 to about 55, 60 bucks. This is a relatively oldish heatsink. It came out in what, 2010. But the best budget, or not even necessarily a budget, well, it's about 30 bucks, but like the most recommended heatsink to buy for your overclocking needs for your modern day CPUs is usually the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Plus, and that retails for about 30 to 35 bucks. This performs better than that. And look how much I spent on this thing at Micro Center. Let me put the camera in macro focus and show you. See that price? See that deal that I just got? Yeah, that's why searching around the web is the best thing you could do when you want to buy something, because you can always find a deal somewhere that you would never expect it to be. And the funny thing is, this was the last heatsink that they had in stock. The last one, because these things were just flying off the shelf because of the price and what you're getting. You're basically getting a $50 heatsink for 12 bucks basically. So let's get to the unboxing of this. Alrighty. Simple. I like the handle that they got, even though I don't use it. They put it in a giant bag for me, but still it's pretty nice. Let's see what we have here. Alright, this heatsink comes with two 120mm fans. Once again, two 120mm fans for 11 bucks, and you get a giant heatsink, thermal paste, and everything you need to install this, while two 120mm fans, and these fans move about 93 CFM of airflow. Alright, this is 93 CFM of airflow, while this fan only moves 40 CFM. This fan cost me 5 bucks, so two of these in its own is approximately the cost of this whole entire thing that I got. So this is just a amazing deal basically. It's like a steal. So yeah, this is just one of the fans that you can install. You can install the fans on each side of the heatsink. You can opt for a push-pull type of setup, which is what I want. I looked at my motherboard setup and I don't think I have enough space for that, so I'm going to probably have to just go with a pull setup. So here we have the other things that you get. I didn't show you. This is the back plate that you install behind the motherboard. Luckily, the case that I have, which is a Cooler Master half 912, has a CPU cutout to make it a lot more easier for me, and I don't have to remove the motherboard from the case to install that. You have your thermal paste, which is right here, and you have the fan mounts, which is rubber. It's all rubber to reduce the vibration and the noise of the fans. Then you have various screws to help mount the backplate and the heatsink to the motherboard, and then onto the CPU itself. Now on the rest of the box we have your warranty. There's warranty and documents. This is the installation guide, which I will be reading to the fullest because I don't know how to install this. Alright, and you have another 120 millimeter fan that comes with the heatsink. Well, it's not installed, it's just with the heatsink in its own packaging. And then you have the heatsink itself. Look at this mammoth. What is this falling? Oh wow, this is just there was a bunch of beads falling. Like, what the hell is this? Don't tell me this is broken and this was just open. So yeah, that kind of scared me a bit. But yeah, this is just a really nice looking heatsink. Just look at it. Just look at its beefiness. You have direct contact heat pipes, so you get the most efficient heat transfer from the CPU to the heatsink itself. You have, I believe it was 46 separate layers of these little heatsink fins. So yeah, that's pretty much it that you get in the box. So I'm gonna give you a closer look if you want to see. This is like a very nice looking silver. It's supposed to not be affected by oxidation because of the material that they used. And it has like its own little extra set of heat sinks. I'm not sure this actually is aesthetic or actually performance, but that's pretty nice. So yeah guys, stay tuned for the video of me installing this beast on my CPU. Thanks for watching this. This video has been very long. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. Thanks for watching this video guys. Later.